With Ino, she's a very hard character to play. Let's go to the character select screen first. Every character in this game, like, they have different things that inform you about what the character's about. If you don't understand what it is, I'll show you guys. So, for Ino specifically, right, these are her stats. So you'll know right off the bat what kind of character she is. But if you don't understand what all that means, Ino, basically, she's like 2-star for the ease of use, meaning that she's one of the harder characters to play in the game. I think she's the second hardest character to play in the game. I think Zato is probably the first. She's rushdown, clearly, so she wants to get in your face and get in your fucking grill and mix you up. And as you can see, on the left-hand corner, if you wanted to know what this was about, the ABB and the dots, that's the excel at range. So like, it shows you what range this character excels at. So she has an A, or 3 points or 3 stars up close. So that should tell you she does great up close. She does alright in the mid range, and at the long range she does okay. But I'll talk about what all of that means, right? I'll tell you why she's graded that way. But if you ever want to pick a character, just know that that's what you look at when you're trying to pick a character, and you want to know what they're about and what they excel at and shit. So for Ino, her game plan, right? She obviously wants to be right next to the opponent. She has this unique like hover dash. This is probably the only like way that she's able to like move on the ground. She doesn't have a unique like running dash like every other character. So that's what makes her like kind of odd, right? Her air dash, she kind of like dashes downward, and her back dash is like this little like dash back. It's like, again, it's not like Soul where he just does an immediate air dash forward or like an immediate air dash back like that. It's not that fast. So she has a ton of like options that are very unique, to say the least. This also means her mobility is like on the slower side, because while she has like the ability to do these air dashes and stuff, they don't really like move very quickly. So it's very hard for her to like just adjust where she is right away. Now her normals, right? Basically she has 5k, 2k, 5p, 2p. These are like her fastest normals, 5p, 2p, right? At about 5 and 6 frames respectively. 5k is gonna be like your fast, like longer reach and poke. It's 7 frames, right? It's 7 frames, and it's cancelable. So you could do that, and remember that you could Gatling your P's into 6p. You could do it into 6p, or you could Gatling your 5k into your dust, or 5k you could Gatling that into your command HS normals, like your 6 HS normals and shit. So like 5k is your poke, 2k is another poke. It's your low. It's the low that you're gonna be using when you're pressuring people up close. Your far standing S, right? Like this is your far standing slash. It goes pretty far, but it's kind of slow. I don't really use it too much in the neutral, but it's not bad if you like want to like get in with like stroke, which we'll talk about later. Close S can kind of be used as a pseudo anti-air up close. But like 5S is not bad, like close 5S, but it's a proxy, right? It's a proxy, so you can sometimes get like far S if you're trying to anti-air, you know, so you have to be careful with that. Obviously, it goes into 6HS as well on hit, right? Even on block, it goes into it, right? You're going to primarily use this normal like as combo filler. You're not really using it for anything else. You could also go into far S and then far H. Like far S and then HS, right? So you could do that. Or, yeah, that works. 2S is a really like long reaching poke, longer than 5k, as you can see. It low profiles a lot of limbs. It low profiles like a lot of limbs, as you can see. See, like it can low profile some limbs. Like it basically, like this poke is good for like avoiding certain high profile attacks. but it's slow. It's really slow. I'd say about, I think it's 9 frames if I'm correct. I could be wrong. It's slow. So that's the downside to it. It's also not a low like in previous games. It's cancelable, so obviously you want to go into stroke from this, right? 5 HS. I don't really use this normal too often in the neutral. I kind of use it like off of throw, for instance. If I land it, sometimes I'll do that to kill. But really, like, I don't really use it too often, if at all. I don't. You can use it in some conversions, but really, like, this normal is very slow to be using. 2 HS is also a really decent like poke. It's probably faster than its other counterparts. And again, it's cancelable. You can use it to like stop like, again, those low reaching pokes. A lot of like this is what's gonna stop the low reaching poke. Like, let's say you have Soul doing stuff like this, like 2S or 2D. For instance, if I do stroke the big tree, which we'll get into, it's gonna lose to low pokes. So you have to do like your 2S or your 2HS to punish, right? Yeah, 2S and 2HS are 11 frames. So they're slow, but their usefulness is being able to go very far, and they're active. So they stop a lot of the things that would stop your stroke the big tree. And they go underneath a lot of moves. So that's the usefulness of those attacks. You have 6 HS, right? 6 HS is one of your command normals. It's cancelable. It's a really good normal that launches the opponent in the air. And you could cancel it into heavy stroke primarily, so that way you're able to get the hard knockdown. In corner, you obviously get like conversions that are really good. Chemical love conversion in corner. So basically, like, this is your like combo starter, and sometimes it's what you use in block strings. So that way you could go into stroke reliably as a true string, or mix it up with a heavy stroke. You know, like things like that. It's also like a pseudo anti-air, right? If you happen to land it as a counter hit, so like you get pretty good conversions if that hits as a counter hit. It's kind of like a read. You don't use it as a reaction. People like Ino will use this shit sometimes in the neutral at round start. If they try to jump and they press a button to get counter hit, you get all of that. If they press a button on the ground, this will attack them, and it's 7 frame startup. So it's not a bad option, but it's not something that I would use to stop jumps on reaction, right? 6P is actually probably one of the best 6Ps in the game, in my opinion. Is good for, obviously, when people jump in. It's universal at 9 frames, right? And you get a hard knockdown if it lands as a counter hit. See that? And it hard knocks down. They cannot tech up after this. And you could kind of use 6P as a way of dealing with certain characters' pressure. You can use 6P's upper body invulnerability to kind of get around certain characters' block strings and interrupt them. So you should be trying to use 6P that way as well as the anti-air way. But as I was saying before, anti-airs are not really the strongest point of Ino per se. A lot of her normals on the ground don't really beg to like anti-air. Maybe just this, but it's a read. So what she's gonna have to do instead is she's gonna have to air to air, right? So jump P is a really good like a barre tool you could use, right? If somebody is like jumping at you, and it's a quick like jab that you could do to like say no, don't jump at me, right? But I don't really have too much success using this. I have a lot more success using things like Jump S. Jump S is a really good air to air, and it goes pretty far. It's a quick air to air for certain situations when people are jumping in with normals. That kind of like stuff out another normal. Jump HS. Jump HS is probably the best like air to air normal that she has. It's pretty active. It can literally hit behind her in some cases, and it's a really good like tool, especially in matchups like against Milia and shit. See that? Hits right behind her. So this is a really good like air to air normal. It stuffs out a lot of options. But it won't stuff out everything, so you'll sometimes have to do jump S instead, right? So those are the normals you want to be using in air. And remember that she has a double jump that you could use, and She also has other air options, which we'll get to. But like, you basically want to use these two normals in the neutral. You obviously use them in combos as well, but like, those are their main purposes, neutral wise. Jump K, I don't really see myself using this normal too much in the neutral. You use it more for the mix-up. It can also cross up, as you can see. It crosses up, and it gatlings into JD, which is not a true string, but it will go into JD as like a frame trap, right? So you gotta like use that in your offense, in your pressure. It's hard to do against like soul characters with like very fast jabs. You could do this against characters like Milia who have 7-frame jabs. And obviously the situation where you would use Jump K would be like, if they jab after, you can do 2K and get a conversion like that. Now for our special moves, I suppose, because we went to a lot of our normals already and what their main purposes are. Chemical Love, the first one, right? Chemical Love primarily is going to be used for whiff punishment. A lot of people like to use this like as a way to like stop people approaching, but it doesn't work that way because people could literally just run underneath it, as you can see. It's just not that good as like something to like say, yo, like you got to worry about this. You got to kind of use it when someone is whiffing a normal that they shouldn't be whiffing, or in projectile war, because it goes through all projectiles. It also has a hurt box tied to Ino. So if she does it, I could actually get hit. You see that? It's not just a projectile. The hurt box extends for Ino. So she could actually get 6P'd out of this. So you actually have to be careful. You only use this like as a whiff punish tool. You could kind of use it as a pseudo anti-air, but you have to be careful of when you do it, because it's like you could get hit, right, out of it, and they could air dash over it. So you have to like wait for them to be at the right height to AA with it, which means it's not like reliable. You can only use it as a whiff punish tool and to pierce projectiles in like zoning war. So that's why her range, even though it has a 2-star in the range for like C range for when she's far away, but really like this move is only used in very specific situations. Antidepressant Scale, or the note as people call it. This is going to be your primary tool that you use in Okizeme when you knock somebody down. This is like something that you should be basically using almost all the time when you knock someone down. You can kind of use it in the neutral, but it's not something that like you should be using like raw in the neutral, because it has a lot of recovery when she's landing. She could steer this, so she could steer it up, she could steer it down. It's very active. It enforces her ability to control space a little bit, probably off of like knockdown situations more than just like throwing it out in neutral like this, right? Because while they're getting up, they have to worry about the note, and then they have to like decide, do they want to jump or stay on the ground. So you could use it there, but again, the primary place where you're going to be using this thing is going to be when you knock someone down, because then you throw the note down, because you could cancel 2D into the note, and then now they have to guess, right? They'll have to guess. The closer it is, the less amount of hits it does, but the further away it is, the more amount of hits it does. It'll probably do on average about 3 hits, see that, after a knockdown from 2D. So just keep that in mind. The next move is Stroke the Big Tree. Alright, it's an innuendo. I get you, it's funny, but don't try to laugh. This move is very good. I'm doing the HS version and the S version. So this is the S version, this is the HS version. The slash version of Stroke the Big Tree is -7. So just be careful. Like, you could get punished. You can basically use it in your pressure or within block strings, because it hit. You see the character's blocking low. It hits as a low. You cannot block the standing. If you get hit by this move, then you're put into a stagger state where you have to mash or press the button to get out of stagger before your character can act, right? If it hits, she's obviously plus, right? She's plus enough to jail. If she hits the HS version, she'll get a combo on fast stagger. If this thing hits as a counter hit, she's going to be doing a lot of damage, right? And there are ways to get that to hit as a counter hit. You knock them down, right? And you could do stroke there, or you could do stroke after this. And obviously if it hits as a counter hit to stroke, then you get a whole ass combo. Yeah, that does work. There we go. So yeah, like stroke the big tree on counter hit. If you land it, it's gonna be a lot of damage. So you should probably like make sure like to use this move in your pressure. This move is basically a plus for the HS version. It's plus, so they can't press anything on block. I'm gonna have Soul press 2P, all right, and I'm gonna do HS stroke. Right, that hits. He gets counter hit. You see that? I'm plus. However, of course, because it's Soul 5K, 5P, shit just loses. So you're not gonna always be able to challenge every time. That's why you have to rotate your pressure. You don't just do stroke the big tree sometimes and do a button. Sometimes you can hop if you want to, but it's not gonna work here because you press a jab. You have to condition them to not want to press a button after that, or obviously you could do strings like this, like 2K 2D again into another heavy stroke, or like slash stroke, which I'll show off now. So you do things like that, right? But you have to be careful, because if you do like stuff like this, like heavy slash stroke, and then try to re-engage with it again, it can get thrown. Like stroke the big tree can be thrown in the middle of the animation. It won't work. If they time their throw correctly, they'll grab me out of it. See that? So you just gotta be careful. It's not a real like block string. 6HS will work, right, into slash stroke, but not 6HS into heavy slash, right? You see that? That doesn't work. So you just gotta be careful of what you decide to do. Just be cognizant of what the opponent is doing, because this could get thrown. So I forgot to mention, stroke the big tree low profiles a lot of moves. Low profiles that. Low profiles that. It low profiles like a lot of projectiles. Stroke the big tree low profiles a lot of moves in the game. Like she dips in mad low. So like I said before, characters are gonna try to do moves to catch it in the neutral. So you have to make sure you're not autopiloting that shit, and you whiff punish. You whiff punish people. You want to make people like really consider pressing a button to stop stroke the big tree. The last special move we can talk about here is the dive, right? So the dive, she has 3 different versions of the dive, right? She has the kick version, the slash version, and the heavy slash version. She can charge them to delay it, right? And basically these are all her dive kicks. They're all like -6 on block, except for the HS one, which is even more negative. See, you can punish me here, right? All of them are -6, except for the heavy slash version, which is immensely negative because she has to land. Now the thing about this dive is that she can hop after it and make it safe. Usually, characters like Soul have fast enough jabs to punish her even after the hop. 5K will punish her in the matchup here. But like, you can, against other characters with slower jabs, you will be able to block in time. The tutorial of the game will recommend you to do RC to make it plus. So you should try that. You're primarily going to use this move as another means of getting in, specifically in the air, and stopping like certain like basically whiff punishing certain strings. Whoops. Like that. See how that hits? It hits Soul out of recovery. So you're gonna kind of use that as a quick like whiff punish tool as well, to kind of stop certain strings or certain normals in the neutral. And like I said before, if you land this dive kick, this is a free like meaty stroke the big tree. So just be wary of that. Like, know that that's what you get as the reward. Now, if you charge this and it hits, right? If you charge the move and it hits, it causes a bounce. So I gotta do dust move here. or rather just the dust combo. But you could get more damage in the corner off of it. Like the point is that if this hits as a charge and it bounces, you get a confirm off the hop. But yeah, those are all the dives and how they function, right? They're all negative on block, but you get that little hop. And remember, the last thing about this hop on block, right, is that if you do this hop, it only goes forward, but you can backdash after it, right? You could do any other air action. So just remember that. You're not just forced to do the hop and that's it. You could do another air action after. Alright, now for her supers. So she has two supers. The first super is Fortissimo. Ultimate Fortissimo. She has two versions of the super. She can do it on the ground and in the air. This move, first of all, is it's invincible. So this super Fortissimo, the first portion of this where she like gears up and gets ready to do this flip kick, as you see, that flip kick right there is invincible all the way through until she's in the air, right? So she's invincible for the first part of that super. The next part, which has the explosion, that part she's not invincible. So a lot of players sit here, right, and they block the first part but let the second part go through. If you let the second part of this super go through, she's going to be plus because she causes guard break. She causes guard break for this after this first part of the super. So you need to challenge her. You need to punish her after she does the kickflip. Otherwise, she gets a new turn. Now the air version of the super is very hard to punish because it happens instantly, right? It's not invincible, so you can jab her out of this before the explosion comes out. But it's harder to punish because it's like literally instant. Like the startup is not like instant, but like because there's so many things you have to consider. She's gonna mix you up, and then she's gonna do this in your face, and she's gonna be plus. And she can also confirm this from a hit, like on block. Like she's gonna force you to block, go into this, and then get another like block string going, right? So in the air, you can punish her because it has no invincibility. But if you block this, she's plus, and it's harder to tell when she does it in air. So, and this is primarily the combo ender that you're gonna go into anyway, right? This is the main like combo ender you're gonna go into when you have them at the wall, or if you're gonna like confirm. And like I said, this is an old school thing right here, doing like a dash slash into the super. That is powerful because again it gives you that hard knockdown. So that is basically like the first super. It enforces and rewards the fact that she has low damage output primarily off of a lot of her mix-up games. So when you land this high, you get to get rewarded for it with another hard knockdown without having to like do a whole combo, you know, into it and end your pressure if they block the 6 HS, right? Now the final move that she has is her Megalomania. It's the super that she had when she was a boss character in Double X. This super has two parts to it. The second part of the super is where she throws the projectiles out. But the first part of the super is 11 frame startup, and it's a command grab. They have to be already holding up. So it's 11 frame startup, and it's 0 frames after the flash. If you ever land this close to corner, it will automatically wall break. All supers automatically wall break near the wall, but this super does so much damage near the wall. It literally does half health. This is what you're going to be landing. They're going to be so worried about the high-low mix-up, and then you just do this, and they just die. This happens to so many people. It's a really strong super. Probably, to me, I think is one of the best supers in the game. One of them. She has some of the best supers in the game, I think. My opinion. Those supers are really strong. And they're very versatile for what she needs to do. This command grab super, in order to punish it, you have to have been already holding up. Like, if you guess right on the command grab, you jump over it and punish it. See that? You jump over it and you punish it. You don't block this because it pushes you back to full screen. In the corner as well, you don't have to worry about like jumping over it. You just block the projectiles after you jump over it. So you just want to hold up forward, basically. Hold up forward when you see the super. Hold up forward. If you know she's gonna do it, hold up forward. So yeah, those are all of her moves basically, and the applications for them, right? Now, basically some main like basic things you could do, like some B&B stuff. Here are some basic combos you could try out that you could do that are not hard, right? 2K 6HS into heavy slash stroke the big tree. This is a hard knockdown. You want to be doing this because it forces a hard knockdown, and you get to do another like meaty setup after. You get to basically do the high-low mix-up game that you want to be doing, right? Another B&B you could do, 2K into 2D, very basic, right? You can do jump S, 6HS into heavy slash stroke the big tree, right? That's another thing you could do. You could do jump K into 6HS as well as a fast overhead, right? And note, again, you're going to be doing low damage because you're trying to enforce the mix-up. Heavy slash stroke the big tree is a hard knockdown. So that's what you're going to be doing a lot of the time. In corner, the main combo that you want to be doing that you can hopefully master is 2K 6HS. Chemical Love. The Chemical Love hits at the last possible active frame. Then you get dash 6HS, dash HS like that. And then you do the heavy dive kick, you hop for the last hit. And then you hit S. And then you can do your super. And you want to end with super with this character because you get the hard knockdown to force them into another mix-up. Or do meaty stroke the big tree, and you get the tension. So that's why you want to end with that. You want to end with super when you're near the wall almost all the time with this character because you get the meaty stroke the big tree here. They can't press anything there, or otherwise they'll get counter hit. So when you knock somebody down in the corner, right? Always do the note, then do jump S or jump K, right? Whenever you knock somebody down in the corner, you can do jump K, jump S, empty hop 2K, right? Yeah, those are your options basically. Jump S, jump K, 2K, right? And whenever you land that, if you can confirm it, you go into 6HS. Now the thing about this too is that they can't do wake up DP. They can't wake up DP here. They are not allowed to wake up DP this. So I'm gonna have him DP, right? Watch this. They cannot wake up DP here. It'll actually, the note will hit them. They're not allowed to, so they're forced to block. Double HCO. They will literally lose if they do a DP. So they have to guess. They have to guess. Like, see that? That's a safe jump. That's the thing about Ino, is that she has a lot of safe jump pressure. Even after throw, she could do it too. You just do 2 dashes, 2 small hops, and you will block that. They cannot DP this character. They have to guess. They have to guess. They can DP if they want to, but they need to find the gaps in your pressure. And yeah, I mean that's basically the gist of Ino. That's all Ino is really about. Really. Your main goal, like I said before, is you want to land these high-low mix-ups and frustrate the opponent. You really want to do that because that is basically the core of her game plan. She doesn't have a lot of damage, so she makes up for it with an insane mix-up game. I showed off some basic combos in this guide, or whatever you want to call this, and I showed off what you can do there. Matchup stuff will probably come later as I learn, but that's pretty much the overall strategy of the character and what you are supposed to do with the character. She's hard to play with, but hopefully, like, with what I've talked about, it's helped you at least, like, get a grip on, like, how to approach with this character and what to do. She's very fun if you are into doing high mix-ups, and if you just like a queen, bro. If you just like a really good queen, bro. If you need something to remind you about what you should be doing with this character every time you knock them down, this is probably the best image that I could show you that encapsulates what this character is about. This is the best image I can show you guys that encapsulates what this character's entire game plan is. So yeah. That's Ino. That's literally Ino. That's literally Ino and what you're supposed to do with the character and her basic game plan. The matchup stuff, like I said before, I will talk about next time. But that's how you play this character. That's literally how you play Ino. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope this video helped you guys and it basically gave you what you needed to know.